let's continue with the worst financial things you can do in your 30s. Starting it off with going all in on an unproven business model. Look, you're a grown-up now, you should know better. There is certain business ideas that work and there's certain business ideas that don't work. And sure, once in a lifetime, there's something that nobody thought would be possible, and then it is, and it became. But how many people tried before and failed? Usually, if you read books like how Netflix got successful, how Amazon got successful, it's how Twitter got successful. Each of those companies have their own book, and I've read those because of incredible hard work, amazing connections in the Silicon Valley or the investment niche, and incredible luck and right time, right place, right connections, right co-founder, right parents, right uncle who is also connected to the VC fund, and so on. Don't go all in some stupid business idea that either you put in your head or somebody else and you think, oh my God, if this works out, I'm gonna be a millionaire.
Yeah, boy.
Stick to the things that work. You spend your 20s figuring out your skill. Double down on it. Get better at it. Make more connections on it. Don't waste your money with stupid business ideas. And especially don't waste your time. Secondly, on the same idea, don't make other huge financial investments on the hope of a big payout. That might be some insane apartment deal where you think you can 4x it, or crypto stuff, or other business idea of a friend and he only needs a little bit of capital, but when he works out, once the product is done, it's 10x and you will get your money back. And everything that sounds too good to be true in that sense is too good to be true.
I need it for some rent and some other bills.
Oh, wow. Well, how much?
$2,000?
$2,000?
If you want to gamble a bit and throw 5K there and 1K here and stuff that doesn't destroy you if you lose it, sure, but don't take huge amounts of money that you accumulated over your 20s and throw it at one thing, because more often than not it will be gone or you won't see it for a very long time and it would really hurt you for your 30s and 40s. Another mistake that I seen guys do all the time, they have a business and they invest everything they make back into their business. Not good, don't do this. Sure, growing your business is important. You should reinvest in your business. It shouldn't be stagnant, and it's probably still a young business, so it needs capital. I understand that. But take a little bit out, even if it's 10, 20%. Put it for yourself. It's just another form of diversification. Put it in something that even if your business completely dies, you still have on the side. You will thank me later. Next bad mistake you can do in your 30s financially is get involved in a real estate project that is not your expertise. Often there are good real estate deals coming up. Capital is always needed. Real estate in general is a good idea to invest, but you want to do it with people who know what they're doing. You don't want to take over all the renovations. You don't want to, fund everything and then put all your money in a thing and then kind of be stuck with the bills, because the problem with real estate is it is more complex than you think. You have to have knowledge of the area, the industry, the neighbors, the culture of that town or country where you buy something. Firstly, then you need to know how to renovate stuff. You need to know how to make something look good. You need to know how to promote stuff. You need to know how to resell stuff. Then you need to deal often with complex taxes and certain laws and how to write off like materials, and it gets really complicated. Basically, a quick flip of an apartment is not a quick flip ever. It's a whole new venture that you're starting. I've done stuff before where I give a part of my money to somebody and he deals with everything. At the end of it, I get a part out, either on a monthly basis or it's a flip. Let me tell you, this worked sometimes fine, sometimes didn't work fine, but every time it takes much longer than you expect. In general, with any business or any investment stuff, and especially with real estate, things take longer and they're usually more expensive than you thought. So be very careful with that type of stuff, even if it looks juicy and secure and reliable. Huge mistake you can make is staying in a job that you don't like and staying in a job that doesn't benefit you anymore other than a stable income. It's basically being addicted to a paycheck, which is some quote which goes something like, the most two addictive things in the world is heroin and a steady paycheck. I know it can be scary to quit your job, and I know it's comfortable to get money every month, but really you're wasting your potential and you're not accumulating knowledge and future potential upside. If you're so reliant on your paycheck, reduce your expenses, maybe move country, and before you quit for 3 or 4 months, build a side hustle that substitutes the lost revenue a little bit. But you don't want to get stuck in one job. You will regret it. What you also don't want to get stuck with is a relationship. I said that in the other video. It's still true in your 30s. You're still young. You should not get married, and also you shouldn't really get stuck in a relationship that is longer than 3 years. Sure, if you find the one after you had an incredibly colorful life in your 20s and early 40s, 30s, and now you're in your late 30s and you're like, cool, I did it all, regret. I really want to settle down because I'm tired of sleeping with so many women and traveling all the time, and I'm really ready. Okay, but I don't know how many percent of you guys are in that category. Usually you're still lacking huge amounts of sexual experience, dealing with different women, dealing with yourself, finding yourself, loving yourself, really understanding female psychology on a deeper level. So if that resonates more with you, then you've done it all and you've slept with hundreds of women and you're ready to settle down, or dozens of women at least, yeah, just don't do it. It's too early. I don't want to put a number on it, but to be honest, if you slept with less than 50 women, you are not ready. You don't understand them at all yet. It's true. I've slept with many more than that, and I'm still discovering things every week. Don't get locked in one relationship. To add on to that, I also want to say, now you're finally, hopefully, maybe in a position where you have a little more freedom financially. So you can actually use your money to buy experiences, right? You can travel, you can fly girls in, right? You can fly yourself from A to B, meet a girl in B city, have a little romance there, fly back to A, fly her in from B to A, continue a romance there, have a threesome there, and so on. Finally, you're not penny pinching anymore and really trying to hold it together like you maybe were in your 20s. Another reason why you don't want to be locked in with one girl forever, because now it really is a time to explore, experience, travel, make romantic experiences. And let me tell you, girls in their 20s are so attracted to guys in their 30s because you're more sophisticated, you dress better if you follow my advice, you have more money, you know yourself better, versus her option, the girl in her 20s, which is other guys in their 20s who don't have any of those things. So young girls in their early 20s love dating guys in their 30s, believe me. So yeah, another reason to not get locked in. And on that notion, I want you to use your money, right? If you have some money, I want you to use it for those experiences. I want you to travel. I want you to do everything I just said and take risks on lifestyle rather than on financial stuff. Reward yourself. Go somewhere. Have experiences. Take a girl with you. Hire that assistant. You can finally use money to solve some problems. Maybe you have a relationship, but you also really want to focus on your business at the same time, but you also want to have the luxury of traveling and kind of working and traveling, but you also want to bring your girlfriend. You now have the luxury, it's a thing I do, to renting her another apartment on the side. Because for me to do my work, I need to be really focused. Even if my girl is respecting that, it just is a distraction. She's just in the house. I want to cuddle her. I want to have sex with her. So what I did this year, I booked her another apartment 5-minute drive away. And then if I need a day or 2 days of focus, she lives there. And then we spend 2 days together, and then again, not 2 days, and whatever works for my work schedule. Finally, now I have money to do such things that I didn't have in my early 20s. So that's just another life hack that you can apply if you would like. Another huge financial decision you might be making other than getting married is beyond getting married, which is settling down in one location and having kids with a woman that you probably married, and basically giving in to the family pressure that you might feel. This is really important. Don't let anybody tell you what to do, especially in your 20s and 30s, or ever in that sense. Especially people who didn't really figure out life themselves. You don't want to take advice from people who also fucked it up and did it wrong, and now they're just projecting their own mistakes onto you. But even if not, the 30s now is a whole different thing than the 30s were 30, 40 years ago. As a guy in your 30s now, you are like a guy in your 20s 30 years ago. I hope that math works out. Please don't give in your family pressures to settle down, have kids, finally choose a wife, all that stuff. You're still free, and your freedom will be the thing that makes you happy, makes you wealthy, makes you love yourself, and makes you really make most out of life. And finally, because it is tempting, I also don't want you to try to impress people just because you're in your 30s now. You know, in your 20s, we didn't have money anyway to buy a car or expensive clothes or, you know, pop bottles in the club. In your 30s, you might have, right? You might close a good deal or just make more money in general, get a higher paycheck, and it become tempting to just instantly expand your lifestyle that way. So, you know, suddenly you buy a car, suddenly you have a bigger apartment, suddenly you go to the club and you're trying to be the boss, and suddenly you're booking business class, so you always book 5-star hotels. So be very careful of that shit. First of all, to impress people, because it doesn't work. Money on the 5 elements is just 2%. Buy lifestyle, buy experiences, buy connections, buy exposure, buy all that stuff. Don't buy luxury stuff. Don't buy more comfort. You know, comfort will be your downfall in that sense, because you never know when the income situation changes again and we're about to enter a recession. Suddenly people get stuck with high, super expensive mortgages, interest rates go up. Suddenly they had an expensive car that's now worthless because nobody's buying it, because it's a really illiquid market. And that can be said for many other luxury items, even luxury watches. You know, you see how those prices dump. If you get certain luxury watches on retail, it's okay, right? But in general, don't do any of that shit, especially don't pop bottles in the club. Return on a champagne bottle in a club or a table is insanely bad. You can only do that if you have you money. Like for me to buy, let's say, a $500 bottle of champagne in a club, it must feel like me buying a $5 coffee back when I've bought a $5 coffee. It must be like, okay, that's a thing I do every day. As soon as it's a little bit like, ooh, $500, but okay, I'm not doing it. There's no point in doing it. So it must really be like buying a coffee at Starbucks. That's it. That's the worst things you can do in your 30s. Let me know which one you've committed already or trying to avoid. We're obviously all guilty of some of these. I'm obviously speaking from experience in a lot of that. Nobody's perfect. And if you want to add anything to your list, then also let me know in the Discord or shoot me a DM on Instagram. Thanks for watching.